Can you do both cardio and strength training at the same time? Research shows that having high cardiovascular fitness is the single greatest predictor of longevity. And having high muscle mass and strength is a close second in terms of being highly correlated with living longer. But it's believed that doing too much cardio can cause you to lose muscle mass. So if it's important to do both, what's the best way to do so without losing muscle mass? Having better cardiovascular fitness allows you to do more things over a longer period of time, while being stronger helps with doing everyday tasks like opening a jar or carrying groceries a little bit easier. So it's really important that you include both types of training for a well-rounded fitness program geared towards overall health and longevity. Now, as somebody who hates running and gets her cardio by playing recreational soccer, I'm going to refer to somebody who has a lot more experience doing both strength training and endurance training. Here's my fellow trainer, Victoria, talking about how she manages both maintaining her strength while working towards competing for triathlons.
So the first year I started doing triathlons, I definitely struggled with trying to balance strength training and cardio. Cardio can be very taxing on the body, especially if you're not used to it and you're increasing it to high volumes. This past year, I think I found a better balance. I think I realize now when you have a race, you do kind of have to focus on that, and the strength training is more of an addition to that. So I only strength trained twice a week while I was doing cardio for about 5 to 6 days a week. I just kind of had to embrace that and realize when it would come fall time and race season was over, I'd be able to transition back into strength training. It was kind of just injury prevention and endurance building in the spring and summer, and then in the winter I can focus more on strength and muscle building.
So as you can see, it took some time for Victoria to figure out a way to balance both strength training and her endurance training to fit her lifestyle. She really had to embrace the fact that one would have to take precedence over the other depending on the season. So you can fit both in, you just can't be at 100% for both all the time. Victoria changed the focus of her workouts in order to fit her goals. During race season, she would be focused more on the cardio side of things, but it was still important for her to maintain her strength workouts in some capacity in order to reduce the risk of injuries. We actually get this a lot from clients. Over the summer, people tend to put their strength training workouts on hold because they say that, oh, I'm going to be doing lots of running, hiking, just more outdoor activities in general, so I don't need my strength workouts for exercise. But the thing is, you lose your strength relatively quickly if you cut it out completely. As you get weaker, your risk of injury increases. The greatest predictor of future injury is having had a past injury. Once you get injured, it's pretty tough to get yourself out of that recurring injury cycle. If you don't want to get on that train, it's definitely important to maintain your strength training in some capacity, even if you're adding other things and focusing on other areas of your fitness.
I didn't notice a major difference in strength as long as I kept up with my strength training. Towards the end of my triathlon season, that's when I definitely started to notice a little bit of a decline. Some of the exercises that I wasn't doing during my training block for triathlons definitely got quite a bit weaker. The exercises that I was doing, like my deadlifts, I did notice actually I was able to maintain that strength. I definitely didn't build any strength, but I was at least able to maintain a certain baseline.
This example with Victoria shows that it's not necessarily cardio that causes you to lose muscle mass. It's just a change in your priorities. If you had all the time in the world and you were able to devote equal amounts of time and energy doing both strength training and cardiovascular training, There's no reason why you can't see great benefits doing both without having them interfere each other. However, if your goal was to maximize your cardio and improve as much of your endurance as possible, then that's where you may see cardio training have an effect on losing muscle mass. On the other hand, if your goal was to maximize your strength, you probably wouldn't have as great of cardiovascular fitness. A prime example is comparing elite level marathon runners versus bodybuilders who are trying to get as big as possible. A marathon runner wouldn't necessarily want to build muscle mass because that extra weight will make it more difficult for them to perform at the capacity that they need to over a full race. Whereas a bodybuilder isn't going to want to run marathons because that's a lot of energy that they have to expend, where that energy could be used to maintain their muscle mass. But for Victoria or the average person who just wants to be as fit and as strong as they can, there's no reason why you can't manage both without having one aspect negatively affect the other. A great example for this would be CrossFit athletes. CrossFit competition involves combining lifting relatively heavy loads with exercises that have high cardiovascular demands. A natural effect of combining these two things at a very high level are people who have very good musculature as well as good cardiovascular fitness. For the average person, your main trade-off is always going to be time. You're not professional athletes who dedicate your entire lives to training. You have full-time jobs. You have personal commitments like having a family or social outings with your friends. What you'll have to do is set realistic expectations in what's actually achievable for the amount of time that you're able to spend, and focus on what's important to you at the time, whether it's more cardio, more strength training, or a balance of the two. If you're just starting out, it can be quite overwhelming figuring out how to fit all of these different variables and pieces into something that will work with your lifestyle. That's where having a good personal trainer comes in. We do all this thinking for you. I have a client who started training with me a few years ago because she kept getting injured when she went to these group fitness classes on her own. So we worked together to build her strength, make sure that she was doing exercises properly, and now not only does she have more strength, but she's also confident enough in her own abilities to be able to go back to these group fitness classes. And she uses that as a way to get her cardiovascular training in while still coming to see me to work on her strength. If you'd like more guidance on your own workouts, or you would like to work with a personal trainer, head over to our website and check out our great introductory offer, 8 sessions for just $96. Just try it out to see if it'll work for you. You can visit us in person in the Ottawa area, or we also offer virtual training sessions if you live outside of the city. Subscribe to our channel if you're interested in seeing more informative videos like this.